Hey, good morning. It's the Morning Hustle. I'm the Fort Worth Playboy, and this is
Bunny.
and we're glad you're here. And what do we cover on the Morning Hustle? We cover game, pickup, relationships, and
Sex.
that's right. And that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. That last one.
And the Morning Hustle, I try to encourage. It doesn't always happen. I try to encourage questions or comments, especially when we have Bunny here live. It allows us to reach in and use her girl brain to kind of filter through the red pill and through game, how women see this and the nuances that guys just aren't going to get.
Right. Right.
And I even try to tailor some of the questions, or at least some of the topics that we cover, to be things that the masculine mind doesn't fully grasp.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's what I try to push this towards. And if you do have questions, please go to YouTube and ask there. We can't see anything from Twitter at this time, and we'll do our very best to answer the questions during the broadcast.
Yeah. Are you ready for the maxim? All right.
Maxim number 19, very early in his maxims, and I've never actually used this one. I've never actually went after this one because you need a girl brain to kind of interpret. Withholding sex is the tactic of a woman who has already lost. It is mutually assured destruction. Again, when a girl or wife or a girlfriend starts withholding sex, generally that's the end of the relationship. It's like he says, it's mutually assured destruction. She wants to use it or leverage it to get what she wants, but usually it ends the relationship, because that's, as Bunny is an expert in saying, that's the difference between your relationship and all the others.
Right.
Now, in the girl's brain, and this is, again, you and I have talked about this. This is not your strength. I don't know if you've ever actually used this.
Have I ever withheld sex?
Yeah, exactly. It does take kind of a certain approach to it. You would have to be somebody that's very much like you leverage it as a power play.
Yeah.
So where does this come from? To if you can, why do girls use it?
Yeah.
And is it always a death sentence?
I think that this is on the money. That first of all, it's a thing that women use in desperation. So it's like, if you're using it, it's because it's the last tool in the toolbox. Just like the way that women use sex to get in with a guy that they really like, they use it as a leveraging point, they think, of pulling back from a man, or punishing, so to speak, a man who they don't respect anymore. I think that's the biggest factor, is if she doesn't respect him, she's pulling back from him. If she's wanting to punish him, she doesn't respect him. I talk a lot about women talk about love, but men are more about the respect. So I feel like in the way that my brain works, women think of love as love, men think of love as respect. If he's not feeling respected by her, then he's not feeling loved by her in the way that a woman would understand it. So therefore, sex is very much a respect leveraging tool.
How would you be able to discern, let's say a guy's dealing with this, and we always get guys that are married, and this is where girls really can leverage this, because he's kind of stuck.
Yeah.
You're in the same household. He can't walk away generally. What is the difference between this and I have a headache, or she just has a low sex rate? How would he discern the difference?
Well, Yeah.
Or can you not?
Well, I mean, I think that there are different. Sorry, I hadn't seen this until like right.
Yeah,
this
no,
second.
no. I mean,
So
and that's why we've never covered it before.
it's a lot to unpack, and I did unpack it in my Ignite Your Wife sexual reset course. But I think the difference is a woman who is saying, I have a headache tonight. It's been a long day. I'm tired. And puts you off tonight, but fucks you tomorrow. Because sometimes that's legit. I don't want to pretend like there aren't times when both men or women, just are tired. They just aren't in the mood. They just have a lot on their plate. They just have a lot on their minds. And sometimes sex is kind of the last thing that they're thinking about. So it's hard to turn it on and turn it back off. But if that's a habitual thing, that's withholding sex. That is what this maxim is talking about. So if sex is being withheld from you as a man in the relationship on a habitual basis, it's kind of laughed about and joked about in like sitcoms. It's like, I always, when I think about withholding sex, I always think about in the sitcoms and in the television world, I always think about Everybody Loves Raymond. So in that show, I don't know if they ever actually had sex. If Raymond and Patricia, his wife, I think her name was
Yeah, that's
no,
good.
maybe that was just the actress's name. But anyway, Deborah, that was the character's name. I don't know if they ever actually had sex because he was always kind of chasing it. But it's the same thing. This has so many elements to it. This is why I do sex courses, because it's like there are a lot of layers to it. But, I always say, don't wait till the very end of the day. Don't wait till you're already exhausted. Don't wait till you don't have any reserves left to enjoy sex play, So that's what kind of reminds me. He essentially is chasing her around all the time, but it starts at like 10 p.m. It's like she's tired. She wants to put lotion on her hands and go to sleep. Yeah. I will say that withholding sex is a tactic of women who have already lost. It's a mutually assured destruction. Is correct. If she's using that tactic, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for anyone. She's lost respect for you. I think it can be regained. I really do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done a course about it because it can be regained, but it's a long game. But another thing that we are planning on discussing today, but can be discussed now, is that you're going to put the effort in somewhere. So even if you are losing sexual ground with someone that you are in relationship with and have been for a long time, like you're invested, you're not really looking to get divorced, that's not your goal, you got married, or you're just in a partnership, for lack of a better way to say it, with a long-term person, and you just don't want to blow all that up because the sex has kind of started to wane. There are ways that you can come back from that. And you might as well try, because you're going to put the effort in there somewhere. You're either going to put the effort into getting back in the dating market, starting to date new girls. There's a lot of steps that lead up to that. Just take them now. And like I said, this actually is something that we were planning on talking about a little bit later in the show, but it certainly applies, because if you're being disrespected sexually, like this maxim represents, then you can either cut it off and understand that it's not going to get any better. If it's a newer girl, like if it's a relationship that you're not truly invested in, just cut it off. Just next. If you're getting sex withheld from you from a fuck buddy, that's because she doesn't have any other options but to withhold sex from you. That's her power play. So who wants to live like that? That sucks. If you're having sex withheld from you from someone that you're invested in, you believe in the sanctity of marriage, you don't want to cheat, you don't want to divorce, you know, you want to stay together, you want to keep your family together, you don't want to blow up your children's lives, then trying it actually works when you have tactics in place.
And do you want to like end this, and then we'll cover the. You're going to have
Sure.
to do the work, yeah, because we have another one that's also as important, but it approaches this subject at a slightly different angle.
Yeah. So Dan Go had said, oh, let me actually allow it to be on shown. Dan Go had said, married men, pretend as if your wife divorced you and you had to hit the dating scene again. You'd probably start working out, eating right, getting your body in shape, right? Well, guess what? Do that shit now. You'll be surprised at how much better your relationship gets when you start taking care of yourself. Now, what I love about our community is I had no fewer than 5 guys send this to me, Dan Go's message,
That's great.
or his post, and say, this is yours. Like, this is, you've been saying this for years.
That's great.
And it's true. Like, I even found, I hesitate to even show it, but I even found a video where I was literally, I'm wrapped in a towel in this video. I was literally getting ready for a date with you. And I just thought, it's so important to always put the work in. I don't know how great this video is, but
I watched it last night. It was good. I don't know if it'll come across because of the technical. It's going to be.
If you are not still putting effort into planning the time that you're going to spend on, say, a Friday night with your lady, and if she's not still putting in the effort to spend time getting ready and really prepare for seeing you in all the ways that she needs to prepare, then there is something terribly wrong. I just want to encourage you to continue to put in the effort, continue to maximize pure enjoyment of your time together, and to never slack off from doing what you originally did whenever you first started seeing one another. It makes all the difference in the longer term success and attraction and desire and pleasure.
That's great.
If
that was a long
you are
time
not
ago.
still putting
But it goes back to I am having a hard time with this. Okay. I can cure all relationships in one tweet. You guys have seen this for 6 or 7 years at this point. Okay. Never stop dating. That's exactly what I was just talking about in that video. Stay trim and healthy. This is kind of what Dan Go is going with. Don't put your kids or your parents ahead of your relationship. Encourage one another. Don't take your phones to bed, and never, never, never stop fucking. All of this is so critical, but all of this can be slipped up on, but recovered.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. It's like, even from the very first slide, the maxim,
Yeah.
where she's withholding sex, for men, the answer, if you were to like do a consulting call, would end up coming down to instilling dread. Dread is like
Right.
the final. And it's interesting as they go, well, what if I start working out and, I pull back from her and I start, investing myself into myself more and her less,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work. Well, the thing is, it's just like Bunny says, the outcome is going to be the same. You're still going to have to improve yourself.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to pay a little bit more attention to your career. You're going to have to drop the kids off at your parents and do your own thing and not worry about what anyone else is saying. This is going to happen whether you want her to stick around
Yeah.
or whether she wanders off. It doesn't matter. I mean, and I think I got that from Ryan Stone.
Yeah.
He said, with dread, your process is the same. And no matter, in the outcome, you will be the same. What she decides to do is completely up to her.
Yeah.
But I found that very interesting. It's like, because, a lot of guys are like, they want a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this going to
Exactly.
work? Well, you're going to have to do the same thing either way.
Exactly.
And it's a very rare instance of it is truly a one size fits all solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
This has to be done. You don't have to do anything by all means. You can let things fail. But should you decide when it does so, you'll still have to go through this process.
Yeah.
And just like Bunny says, you got to do it anyway. And sometimes it has a label, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Sometimes you just know the steps to take. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
It is. It is. All right. This is a question for you. Sam C says, I live in a mid-sized city and want to meet MILFs and cougars. How would you do this? Fort Worth says, keep it casual. I'm 25 if that helps. Young professional, mixed race guy, decent shape, have my own apartment.
First line is always finding out where, there's a division. There's like 25 and under, like where the people go.
Yeah.
And, your higher end hotel bars, your higher end restaurant bars, your higher end bars
Yeah.
or venues in the
Yeah.
evening is where you're going to meet older women. And Buddy, do you remember your best answer to this question ever?
No.
Pickleball.
Oh,
She said that and almost fell out of my chair one time. I
I
was like,
do remember saying that.
if you're active and you're working out, a gym is a good place. And if you're talking about like picking up at a gym, try to find a place that's more group oriented, not like LA Fitness or like where you're lifting weights and resting lift.
No.
You want to be in a group atmosphere, like a strength and conditioning gym or a
Yeah.
CrossFit gym, for lack
Yeah.
of a better phrase, where you're all together, but there's forced rest periods and you're in a natural arena where you interact.
You're treating more like a team in something like that than an individual.
Exactly. And even if you're looking for places like, let's say, you go to a group gym, there will be certain hours that will be better for single. There's going to be like 9 a.m. is like the traditional mom hour.
Yeah.
And these are all married women that you should definitely stay away from with children, married women with children. But in your early morning, which everybody kind of comes in, evenings are probably best for this.
Yeah.
Because people have a little bit more time in the evening to talk.
Yeah.
They're not
for
already
sure.
focused in on like their frenzy of activity that day. But again, Bunny said pickleball, and literally that's genius. You're forced into interacting. You play with each other, and it's a good venue for women, single women
Yeah.
that are older. And the reason I say keep it casual is simply because of the reproduction thing. Because there's like a gentleman that had reached out to me. He's dating like a
Yes.
girl that's like 42. She's already had 2 kids, and he wants more kids. And it's like truly a deal breaker. Well, sure, if she's on board, she's got to be motivated. She could probably do 1, maybe 2 more, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's asking a lot. So that's really why you're,
It's true.
some guys simply like women that are a little bit older, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to look at the reproductive logistics.
It's true.
Is a very real issue.
I went to high school with a guy who, even in high school, he always had a thing for older women. Like, he never dated anyone in our class. He only ever, even now, friends on Facebook I'm friends on Facebook with almost no one from my actual graduating high school class, but I am friends with him because it's so funny to watch. But he is definitely a MILF guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also, what keeps breaking him up is the fact that the older women that he is choosing to spend life with cannot have children anymore. They go through rounds of IVF. They go through rounds of, she's already gone through menopause, whatever the case may be. It's heartbreaking to him because he's not going to end up being a dad. And so now, granted, we're talking about people in our pushing 50s, not 25 like you are, but it applies. This is why Fort Worth this is the real on the ground stuff as to why Fort Worth says If you're a MILF guy, either get them young and like stick with it, or keep it casual and don't put a lot of pressure on anything long term, because in the long term it really isn't usually the greatest solution.
Yeah, and again, where to meet them will be any night or evening venues. It's just going to be upper end, and unlike like older men, generally will not do well like approaching younger women under 25. When she's with her friends, you can actually approach older women, and like buddy,
they'll love it.
They're flattered.
Yeah.
They giggle, and your game should not be any different.
No.
Any different whatsoever than you would do for somebody your own age or younger.
Yeah.
They if they're going to blow you off, they actually usually do it in a very funny, kind. They're not going to blow you off and do a heel turn and turn their back to you like younger girls will.
It's true. Or like they would do to their peers.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah.
They
are amused by your enthusiasm.
Oh yes.
I've never heard of a bad, they'll let you down gently if they let you down, and they don't always let you down.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of times they really enjoy just kind of getting out of their own heads and playing for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's the real deal.
Next slide.
All right. Popular lies girls tell. No hookups, no one night stands. My phone died. I'm busy that night. He's just a friend. Didn't see your text. I never send nudes. I've never had sex on camera. I've had sex with 3 men total. He didn't come inside me. Never been with 2 men. I haven't had sex in 2 years. I didn't enjoy riding dick for 3 hours.
Why do girls buy something?
Yeah.
Each of these, I went over this yesterday, but I thought, I don't really know like the drivers. You know what I mean?
This is the exact same thing as the reason that girls hide other men from you. This is why girls won't even mention their dads, their brothers, an uncle who, is important in her life, a male best friend. Girls will not mention it because we know to hide that stuff. No, if I'm telling some guy, I've never been with 2 men. First of all, why are we having that conversation? But number 2, she would never admit to something like that unless she knew it was your enthusiasm. If deep in the relationship, if you're like, if you, the guy, are like, hey, have you ever had a threesome, or what would you think of group sex, or however you would approach it, and then she kind of reveals that you look really confused.
No, this is good. No, this is great.
Then she reveals that, there was this one time in college where I had sex with 2 men. And she would only ever reveal that because she would know that it's on track with what he's wanting. So girls know to hide other men, and therefore all of these popular lies are just in the female arsenal.
Especially if she doesn't. That's very good, because that is the common strand through that I didn't really see.
Yeah.
Buddy and I know. And here's the thing. She's got to protect her reputation. If she sees you as high value, and definitely if she sees that you have potential for long-term, a long-term relationship, and she would want to invest in you, she's going to leave that as vague and as vanilla as humanly possible. Then you can fill it in down the road. And men react like Buddy's talking about, like she doesn't mention her dad or uncles or because she has learned guys react physically, violently, aggressively to an extreme, and they'll just stop talking to her, or they'll freak out right there, and it happens all the time. So girls learn very early to not mention, even if you are a guy that kind of like rolls with the punches and it doesn't actually affect you as much, they'll avoid it because in the past they ran across men who can't process it. And again, it's hard for you if that's not your nature because your buddy's not going to go, yeah, she brought up this other guy and I freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
They're not telling you the bad stories.
Yeah.
You know, they just go, yeah, I just dumped her. You know, that they're not going to tell you the whole thing.
Right.
Where, like you lost his shit in front of her.
Well, and I will say, I mean, from girlfriends or whatnot, from conversations we've had over the years with people, girls will be more revealing of their sexual past if it's just a fuck buddy or a friends with benefits relationship, which means that it will always be a fuck buddy or a friends with benefits relationship, because no man is going, I saw pictures on her phone of her being railed by 10 different guys, you know, and then go, you know what? I should wife that girl up. I should really take her from fuck buddy to girlfriend status. Nobody's doing that. I'm a,
Your average guy, it will shut him down.
Yeah. And so even in a casual kind of sexual relationship, a girl knows better, generally speaking, if she's got her shit together at all, to tell the lie and stick with it. And make no mistake, she believes it. She thinks nothing of the lies that she tells. She actually thinks that is accurate.
Remember, these guys don't count.
Yeah.
You know?
There are a lot of don't count situations in a girl's sexual past. So understand that for the most part, you'll probably never learn. Now there are exceptions, but you will probably never learn any real numbers. She will stick to that truth that she told you, and you will never know differently. Now we have had consults with men who have a little bit different information than that. But a lot of times whenever a girl starts revealing her sexual past that's not in line with the story that she originally told you, it's because you were digging too hard for truth that you don't really want to hear.
She nailed it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So
yeah. And then these guys get on the phone and they're like, and then she did this, and then she did this, and you're like, why did you do that to yourself?
why would you
know?
even ask about
It's
that?
like stabbing yourself in the leg and going, you know, that's really painful. And stabbing yourself in the leg again.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But some guys, you know, they start losing their mind.
But this is why girls have to have these lies, because guys will get upset about stuff that she did when he wasn't even in the picture, when he wasn't even a known entity yet.
Yeah, in a way, she's protecting her from you, and she's protecting you from yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to
It's
put
a
it.
crazy thing, but it's true. And guys go off the rail about this stuff.
All right.
Do we have any interesting questions? I always feel more comfortable when it's both of us.
Oh, good. Okay, let's go for it. All right. Raquel, random question. Why doesn't an average woman, let's say a 5, appreciate the love and admiration of her above average man? She is open about all her physical faults. But when told by her man that she is perfect as she is, she doesn't care. The man is being truthful and feeling as, oh God, I can't read this morning. I can't read any morning. The man is being truthful and feeling as she is perfect, but she does not appreciate the love and admiration of her spouse. Why is this?
I don't know.
See, okay. In our, let me start this by saying, in our experience, most 5s and 6s, they pretty much know where they lie, and they're more appreciative in general on the front end of the attention that they get. They have to work harder for it. They're going to give better blowjobs. They're going to be more active sexually because they're 5s and 6s. They're not 7, 8s, 9s. They may think they're 10s, but it's their personality that makes them that way. But, which is a running joke.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, you know, I think that all women over time are prone to get bitter by life circumstances. And so that may be more what you're referring to, is a girl who just doesn't appreciate because life is not turning out the way she thought it was. So you're talking about the admiration of your spouse and not a short-term girlfriend. So this is clearly an over time kind of relationship. In those kinds of cases, you will see some bitchy 5s and 6s with some studly, husbands who adore them, and the woman just doesn't appreciate it. But a lot of times that is because maybe childbirth was harder than it was supposed to be, and so it took years to get pregnant. So she started to get bitter, sad, beaten up by the biological life that she's got. Maybe you guys had plans on the front end, or he had potential that she saw that he is not really, that's not like following the projection that she foresaw for your life. A lot of times that will really tear a woman down and create a barrier between the two of you, because she's truly bitter, whether it was a realistic expectation or not. She's truly bitter at the life that she has versus the life that she thought she was going to have. That is a huge one. We have a couple of client friends in the gym that they are the cutest darn couple, but she doesn't really seem to like him all that much anymore. And it truly does come down to a respect issue. I think a timing issue. There's a lot that's on her plate right now. And I think her husband just takes the back burner. Again, never stop dating, never stop fucking, never stop. All of these things could cure this, but she doesn't watch our show. So she is very much, she's cute as a button, but I would say she's a 5'6". She's just a cute little fire plug, we adore her, but she doesn't appreciate this like 6'6", handsome, charming husband that she has. Do you have any? I feel like I'm doing.
Oh, you're killing
talk.
it. You're killing it. No,
I'm not.
I didn't want to interrupt. And I'm glad you kind of let off with this. It's not 100%, but generally, like when the kids come, she gets fatigued.
Yeah.
She feels put upon, and then not just one kid, the next kid. And they're all under like 5, and we know because we're older parents, it's for a season. It's for a period of time. But just like in the case of like our clients, she can get some bad ideas in her head and start looking at him like he's the problem.
Right.
It's not a situational thing that they will pass through together.
Yeah.
She starts blaming him. And this is what I see, where you're like saying like the men are very kind and supportive to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And he starts putting more effort into her and chasing her, and it puts her off.
Exactly.
And that's where like we kick in dread and we pull all that stuff back
Exactly.
when we get in there. But generally men will go, it'll come down to the point where she's like frantically hates his guts.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
When really he should just be taking care of himself, having the kids with his parents.
Yeah.
And ignoring her. She needs like some space.
Well,
but
and
it's
you
hard to
always
do.
talk about dread is a true savior here.
Yeah, there's a multi-step process, and you
Yeah.
kind of you take each situation. The principles are general, the application is individual, but generally men's reaction is the exact opposite. Their natural reaction is the exact opposite of what will be effective. They start putting more time in, talking to her, it's just not
falling
good.
all over themselves
Yeah.
to try
Yeah.
and make her happy,
And it
and
just
nothing's
makes
going to make her happy.
Makes her crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're at the point where like he should really like put her shit out in the yard or push her out of a moving car. That would be the most effective, thing.
You're not suggesting you push your wife out of a moving car.
I guess metaphorically. But that would actually be more effective than being kind and nice and supportive and letting her burn through your bank account. All these are bad things.
Exactly.
And the absolute opposite actually works, but that's a time, that's a different conversation. This is what you're describing is extremely common.
Yeah.
Especially if she doesn't have the right background or support in place when the children come.
Sure.
It takes a lot. It's like the old, I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but what is it? It takes a village to raise a child. I mean, usually if her parents or your parents are involved and there's backup and there's family in the area, these things you pass through them more united.
Right.
And
that's the key. And that's why with that, never stop dating, that list that I put out all the time, that is one of the major keys is you remain more united as a couple. And remember that you're a couple first when you always keep that relationship at the forefront of everything else. Everything else. There are emergency situations that come up occasionally, but for the most part, you two come first no matter what. No matter what. Blood, fire, and broken bones. Those are the exceptions.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Oh, Bethany wrote in, this is spot on. Most exhausted women just need space and peace. It's like they just need, and it helps both of you. It helps the man because he goes and gets a workout in, he goes and rides his bike, he goes and does something that makes him happy, plays golf. She realizes she has time to miss him a little bit, which goes a long way. And maybe she can recharge her batteries and then be happy to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. We have time for maybe one more.
Man, this thing's flown by.
All right. Let's see about this. Mr. 007, young girls go along with fantasy role play while older women are too jaded and experienced to even bother.
This is a generality. I think 007.
Yeah, it is.
I think he's anywhere between 25 and 30. And this is good. I mean, even like Chateau was like, he had one where he went out with a girl that was like 21.
Yeah.
And he went out with a woman that was like 40.
Yeah.
And the difference, I mean, he compared each, he basically did the same date with both of them. And like, he went to the park and one's like, swing me higher, daddy.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, yeah, I don't want to walk through the grass. I mean, so, you're going to have different reactions. But one thing I do want to convey is with over 25, each take that as on an individual basis. There are women above 25.
Yeah.
This one's one of them that are open to having fun. There might be a little bit more limited as far as like flexibility of time.
Right.
But mentally, they're still there. It's not a hard stop.
Yeah.
And I think most guys that are like, once you're in your late 30s, early 40s and older, you kind of like know women kind of come in a whole rainbow of flavor. Generally, under 25, you are going to almost consistently get fun-loving,
Yeah.
Generally. And over 25, they've had more punches or more hits.
Sure.
So they're a little less. It's kind of like what I do say about dating older women is they don't like surprises, because most surprises have been surprises that are kind of like they get surprise anal sex. It's like for him, it's a surprise for her, and she does. I mean, that kind of like, I've got a few examples in my thing, whatever it is, but it's a perfect example. He'll be like, surprise, and she's like, yeah, I could have done without that surprise. And girl, you ask a girl who's 40 or 45, tell me 3 surprises in your life from a man, and they'll be like, and then he got me a vacuum for my birthday, and then he had a surprise where he brought a hooker home, and that was my surprise. These are the kinds of surprises. So older than 25, you may want to give her an idea of what's coming down the pipe.
You're making my eyes water.
But these are good examples,
So good.
I mean, seriously. I mean, am I not wrong? I mean,
I can't get past surprise anal sex.
well, that's the kind of surprises the guys will do, like, surprise.
And bring a hooker home.
Oh,
Surprise.
yeah. Always wanted a threesome. Well, let's have one for your birthday.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
seriously.
that's pretty much, I'm starting to yell. But that's the
You're
kind of,
all fired up.
yeah. Well, I know that, but if you say, hey, I'm going to surprise you on your birthday for a spa day. I've got the kid, your mom's doing it. You're going to go with your girlfriends. And then we're going to go out to dinner.
Yeah.
That's the kind of surprise she can get on board with. But most surprises have been unpleasant.
Yeah.
So you can still do spontaneous things, but just think about the whole picture, because they're like, yeah, no more surprises. That's what you'll hear from older women. They're like, I'd rather just kind of like no, let me prepare mentally.
Yeah. Good job, baby.
Thanks.
You ready to close it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we appreciate you guys being here. If you want to find Ignite Your
Wife, it's the 30-day course. Yes, Ignite. I can't remember if Ignite Your Wife is a 21-day or a 30-day course, but Ignite Your Wife course is at myplayboyspending.gumroad.com. There's also a Fuck Like a Porn Star course, which is why I can't remember which is which at this moment.
Exactly, and they're all solid. And again,
Ignite Your Wife will turn the Titanic around.
yes.
It is fucking phenomenal. I would say that it's the thing that I'm most proud of putting out. I really take a lot of pride in that. It's really fucking good.
There are certain things out there that kind of like the best kept secret, places.
Yeah.
This is an underrated because it's a very specific,
Yeah.
but it's so effective, and for a very hard challenge or problem to solve, it actually solves it.
Yeah. It actually saves marriages.
Yes.
Or relationships.
Yes. And like we said, if you're interested, you can go to myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. If you have any questions, you can go direct with us through email or through the consult or the questions on the website. We can answer your questions. And also, if you're interested in my products, at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
I love it.
If you guys have any questions or comments, you can put them below the YouTube video. The comments will shut out. We appreciate your questions. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
I appreciate Bunny allowing us to delve into her girl brain and wear her out. This is not easy. I mean, this is like you're tested for 45 to an hour. So we appreciate you being here.
I love it.
And that is the end of the morning hustle. We hope you guys have a great day.
Bye.